What's up, guys? Imagine you're playing this position as white. It's your turn and you're trying not to lose, even though your opponent has a queen and a bishop. Well, believe it or not, with best play, this position is a draw. If you would like to pause and figure that out before we move on, go ahead and do that now. All right, well, if you had a chance to look at that, the first thing we need to understand is that black has a lot of threats with the queen. If it was black's turn, he could take here, forking these pieces, or go here, forking our king and knight, or go here, forking the king and knight, or maybe go here, forking the king and knight. There's so many different threats. Our king is just kind of sitting in the middle of the board there. It seems like it's going to be very difficult. However, we have a nice way to start off the puzzle with knight to g5 check. And black has two options. Here and here. These are the only legal moves. The king controls here and the rook controls here. Now, of course, the king doesn't want to go to g3 because it steps into the fork. So because of that, black says, okay, king to h4. Now, if you would like to pause, what's the move for white? All right, well, if you had a chance to look at that, the move is rook to a4 check. And again, the king doesn't want to go here because we have the fork. So what does black need to play? Well, the only move left is bishop to g4 check, sacrificing the bishop to create an escape square for the king. So we take it, and then the king moves to h5. And again, if you would like to pause, there's a crazy move here that we have to draw this position. It's the only drawing move. All right, well, if you had a chance to look at that, the move is knight to e4, attacking the queen, leaving our pawn undefended, and also leaving another threat open, which I will show you in just a moment. So first things first, the queen is attacked. So black has to do something with the queen. There's three main options that kind of jump out if you look at the checks. Okay, so there's capturing the pawn, there's queen to d7 check, and there's queen to f8 check. Now, of all those moves, queen to d7 is the most tricky because it looks like it's skewering our rook, which means after we move the king, black's going to take our rook. Okay, so we're going to come back to that in just a moment. First, I should point out, queen to f8 doesn't work because we played knight to f6 check, also blocking this, and if the king moves here, rook g6 is checkmate. Really nice checkmate, but it is. So black would have to sacrifice the queen, take our rook, and then we have a winning king and pawn ending. Black's king is too far to stop our pawn. So that just means queen to f8 doesn't work. Now, the other thing black could try would be queen capturing the pawn with check. But what we can do is play the move king to f4. In case you haven't heard this before, but knights are very good defenders of your king when you're trying to defend against the queen. Notice how if the queen tried to put us in check, we would just take it. The queen tried to put us in check, we would just take it. The queen tried to put us in check here, the knight is blocking it. So there's only one check that the queen has, and it turns out that we can actually just kind of jump around, king to g3, and if check, king to f4, and if check here, king to f3. We can basically just dance around with our king, and the queen can't really do anything. Okay, we actually have a drawn position, all right? So that's what happens if the queen goes to f8, if the queen takes the pawn. And the last one is queen to d7. Now, this is the one that I said looks really good for black, right? Because it's a check. It's also skewering our rook. So once we move, we're going to lose our rook. So what could we possibly do in this position? White to play and not lose. What is the move? Well, if you had a chance to look at that, the move is the amazing king to e5, allowing the queen to capture the rook, allowing the king to capture the rook. Why? Because if the queen takes, we have knight to f6 check, forking these guys. And if the king takes, guess what? We also have knight to f6, forking the king and the queen. It's an amazing tactic that saves our rook, even though it's not defended. And so, believe it or not, because of this tactical idea, the position is actually a draw. Now, black is not going to give up that easily, so they try a few more tricks, but I'm going to show you what happens. So, queen to e8, check. We play king to f4 to defend our rook from the king. Black plays queen to f8, check. We play king to g3, again, defending our rook, because the king is still attacking it, right? And now black plays queen here, check. Same idea, trying to get us to move away from defending the rook. Like if we move back here, they'll take our rook. So we play king to f4, and now black plays queen to c1 check. And the same thing, they're trying to get us to like move away, right, so that they can take our rook. But we stay defending our rook. And then again, queen to d1 check, and look at this. Black has successfully brought the queen around with the same idea. And so again, if you would like to pause, what should we do now to not lose the game? Well, if you had a chance to look at that, the move is king to e3 this time. And again, we have the same idea, giving up our rook for free, because why? We have the follow-up fork. And the same thing here, we have a fork. It's absolutely incredible. The rook is undefended, and yet it cannot be taken by either of black's pieces. And of course, if the queen decided to take our pawn, we actually win the game now with knight to f6 check, forcing the king over here, and then we take the queen. So an amazing defensive resource. The game is a draw. The best thing that black can do is keep trying to check us, and we keep bouncing around. And when needed, we use this tactical idea, which saves our rook. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. And as always, stay sharp, play smart, and take care.